everyone, welcome to Grammar and Writing Lesson 24. Let's get started. So, we are going to start with our prefix focus, peri. Peri. This is a Greek prefix, once again. Much of our English language comes from Greek and Latin, just like a lot of Spanish comes from Latin. It has a Latin root. But we also have many words from the Greek language. So we get a lot of our prefixes from Greek. So that's why mainly when you see a prefix, it says Greek. So this prefix peri means around, about, surrounding, or near. So it's talking about being close to something, but being around it is the idea of peri. Our first word is pericardium. Pericardium. The pericardium is the membranous sac enclosing the heart. So it's the tissue that is around the heart, protecting it, keeping it safe there in that spot in the body. Used in a sentence, inflammation of the pericardium causes chest pain. So if it were to get infected and to swell up a little bit, that would cause pain in your chest because that's where your heart is. So this is like your heart's almost like their first line of defense is the pericardium. That's the sac that holds it and protects it. So we see our prefix around in that it is around the heart. Our next word is perimeter. This one should be familiar to you guys. What is perimeter? The distance around something, right? Measuring the distance around. Our formal definition is the border of a two-dimensional figure. So border would be, the lados, like a square or a rectangle. In a sentence, we find the perimeter of a square by adding the lengths of each side. So perimeter, we see that meter refers to measuring something. And peri, we know now, means around. So we're measuring the distance around. That's our word perimeter. Our last word is periodontics. Periodontics. Periodontics is a branch of dentistry that studies and treats the gums which surround the teeth. That's where our prefix comes in, being around. The dontics refers to your teeth, okay? So dentistry, orthodontics, that all is talking about in your mouth with your teeth. So peri is referring to around the teeth. And what's around the teeth? Your gums, that pink fleshy part that holds your teeth into place. Those are your gums. And so there is a specific branch, a specific part of dentistry that studies and treats your gums. For example, the dentist's interest in gum disease led to graduate study in periodontics. So this is a dentist. They are very interested in diseases that happen in your gums, how to treat them. So after already having a degree, they went back and they got a degree studying periodontics so that they would be able to treat those kinds of issues. All right, let's do some practice. Fill in the blank with the correct vocabulary word. Number 1, in geometry, we learn to find the blank or distance around two-dimensional figures. Number 2, the prefix meaning boundary, surrounding, or encircling is, notice those are not the exact words you've been given. These are synonyms. Number 3, an inflamed blank concerned the cardiologist. Remember, cardiologist is a heart doctor. And number 4, the dentist referred his patient with swollen gums to a specialist in blank. Okay, pause your video and write down the correct answers if you have not done so already. Let's go to number 1. In geometry, we learn to find the perimeter or distance around two-dimensional figures. Number 2, the prefix meaning boundary, surrounding, or encircling is peri. Number 3, an inflamed pericardium concerned the cardiologist. By the way, do you notice the similarity? Pericardium, cardiologist, that's the part that's referring to the heart. So peri, around, card, heart, and card, heart, theologist, referring to the doctor, heart doctor. So we can really understand the meanings of words once you understand the prefixes, the roots, and the suffixes of words. And once you know their meaning, it can be easy to figure out a word that you're unfamiliar with. Number 4, the dentist referred his patient with swollen gums to a specialist in periodontics. Okay, let's move on. Time to review commas. Woo-hoo. We learned a couple of rules, so I'm going to list them out here right now, and you need to write down the missing parts. So the first part is use a single comma to separate 2 or more blank. So when you have 2 or more blank, what do you use a single comma to separate them for? Number 2, use a comma and coordinating conjunction. That would be and, but, or, nor, for, yet. To do what? What do you use a comma and coordinating conjunction for? Number 3, use a single comma anytime to blank. What would we use it anytime to do? And number 4, use a single comma to separate 3 or more blank. Okay. If you have not written down what those should be, go ahead and do that. We're going to start revealing them right now. Number 1, use a single comma to separate 2 or more adjectives preceding a noun. So when you have 2 or more adjectives in front of a noun, you will need to use a comma to separate them. Remember, the only time you don't is when you have 2 adjectives and the second one is so close to the noun that it's part of the noun. Without that adjective, your noun would change to have a different meaning. Number 2, use a comma and coordinating conjunction to join 2 simple sentences. So if you have 2 simple sentences, you want to combine them into 1 compound sentence, you need a comma and coordinating conjunction. Number 3, use a single comma anytime to avoid misreading. To avoid misreading. For example, after eating my grandpa, he likes to take a nap. If you have no comma after that, no pause, it sounds like you're eating your grandpa. So that would be a little awkward, right? After eating, comma, my grandpa likes to take a nap. Use a single comma to separate 3 or more items in a series. So if you have 3 or more things and you're listing them out, then you need to use a comma to separate each of those items and then the last one in front of the and. Okay, don't forget that English and Spanish have very different rules when it comes to capitalization and punctuation. So that can make it a little bit confusing sometimes. It is even confusing for me. When I go from Spanish to English, from English to Spanish, I don't know all of the Spanish rules, so sometimes I have to ask because I'm not sure, and it's different than it is in English. But you guys have the privilege of learning now. You already know what your Spanish rules are, and so now you're learning the English rules. But it does take a little bit of thought. You have to think about it. Okay, which language am I in? What's the rule in this situation? But you do want to think that through so that you can write in an educated manner, so that when people look at your writing, they read your writing, they see that you are doing your best and that you understand and know how to speak and how to write. That's very, very important. Okay, we're going to do some practice. You guys are going to be doing thing A, B, C, and D on pages 41 through 42. So we're going to go through think A together. Think A says, place commas where needed in the following sentences. Some sentences do not require commas. That's rule 2A. So make sure that you have your language book out and open for the 3 of you that have a language book. For the 6 of you that do not, make sure that you have your pages out and ready to go. Number 1, yesterday I weeded the garden, mowed the grass, and watered the flowers. Okay, I want you to write down the sentence, and if you need to put in a comma, I want you to write the comma in and circle it. Remember, some sentences don't need commas. Okay, pause your video to continue writing it out. I'm going to move on to number 2. Timothy has a dog, 3 goldfish, and 2 kittens. Write down your sentence, and if it needs commas, put the commas where they need to go, and I want you to circle the commas so that you can identify that they're commas you put in, not commas that were already there. For example, in number 1, you have a comma already after yesterday. Don't circle that comma when you write it down because it's already there. Only circle commas that you write in the sentence. If no commas are needed, just write no commas. Okay, I'm moving on to number 3. Pause your video if you need to continue writing down number 2. Teachers and parents and administrators will be at the meeting. Now you can't change any words. So write down the commas. You already have the sentences in front of you. Write down the commas, circle them. Okay, number 4. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. No, I did not forget an and. This is because it's quoting the Bible verse. Okay, write down and circle any commas. And number 5, wise men presented unto him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Okay, pause your video if you need to continue writing down your commas in your sentences. If it does not need commas, just write no commas. Okay, number 1. Ready? This one has no commas. No commas are needed because we already have the items in our list separated by commas. Weeded the garden, comma, mowed the grass, comma, and watered the flowers. Number 2, Timothy has a dog, comma, 3 goldfish, comma, and 2 kittens. Number 3, teachers and parents and administrators will be at the meeting. This one does not need any commas because you have the and already there. Remember, the comma in your items in the list is taking the place of an and. Since your and is there, no commas are necessary. But typically, that's not how people speak, teachers and parents and administrators. Normally, people would say teachers, parents, and administrators. But this is just for the sake of illustration. Number 4, the fruit of the Spirit is love, comma, joy, comma, peace, comma, long-suffering, comma, gentleness, comma, goodness, comma, faith, comma, meekness, comma, temperance. Very good. And number 5, wise men presented unto him gifts of gold, comma, frankincense, comma, and myrrh. So we had our items in a series. Now for your homework, you need to make sure that you have finished complete Think A, that you have done Think B, as well as Think C and D on pages 41 through 42. Follow the directions for each section. I know Think B is exactly like this one. So just make sure that you follow the directions, do your best, check your rules. Go back and look at the rules that you have just learned to make sure that you are putting your commas and your punctuation marks where they are necessary. Alrighty, have a wonderful day, guys. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next lesson.